So we're back in studio in Florida. I love the new studio. It's
beautiful.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
I love that bike in here and at the arcade. We got everything going. Mafia Unveiled, John and Gene show. We're back. That's right. But this is a subject that I think, I mean, we're all aware of it, and but there's nothing being done about it. So I'm going to give you some facts. It doesn't matter on the ethnicity of these kids. It doesn't matter the color or the religion of these kids. And it has happened in 177 different schools around this country. In the last 10 years, there's been 180 shootings and 366 victims that are children. And our government has still not done anything about it. And that's the problem I have. Because I'll give you one more stat. There is $110 billion sent to Iraq from Obama and Biden. $110 billion. Yet they say there is no funds to give the safety of our kids in our schools. So every time you let your child go to a school, 177 schools, there's been shootings. Instead, they talk about the Second Amendment. It has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. Second Amendment, every one of these government officials, senators, and the rest of them all protect themselves with paid security. But they will not pay for our kids to be safe. There's a problem.
Now, I could get into something, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I believe that these shootings could also be set up to take away the guns. They have these kids being killed. Look, these scummy, whatever government power, whoever they are, have these kids being killed. School shootings could be also being set up because why? What's their goal? To what? Take the guns away from
Well,
us.
it's not being a conspiracy theory. It's obvious what the reason why they're letting them come through the border like this, because they're bringing fentanyl. They are bringing guns. There is billions of dollars going to the illegal immigrants, and you have the mayor of Chicago, I don't know if you've seen it recently, he got up in front of the podium and said that 25 Hamas people were killed, soldiers were killed, and the killing needs to stop. I'm looking at the TV, and I want to break the TV and say, this guy and every governor, mayor, Pritzker, and whoever else is over there before that, Lightfoot, are letting these kids in the inner cities of Chicago kill each other left and right for years, and they don't say anything. Right. And then he talks about Hamas. You can't talk about Hamas or anything else. Talk about your neighborhood that you're allowing right in this country, in America, like these kids don't count. Why aren't they doing anything from?
But like, yeah, we're going to get to that. But I'm saying you don't believe, in your opinion, that they set up, not saying they set up the school shootings, but like make people kill these kids so they could take the...
I don't know so much but they influence it by, like I just said, the open borders.
Right.
When you have, just the other day, 2 cops being beat up by 7 or 5 or 6 or 7 illegal immigrants. After they're beating them up, they're throwing a finger out at the news media, laughing about it. 4 out of the 5 of them left, took off for California, they think. And now they're looking for another 7 that also attacked police.
Nah,
so what's the agenda? What's the real agenda when you give up? Now they're throwing the kids out of their schools, and they're using it for the illegal immigrants now. They're throwing veterans out of housing, putting illegal immigrants in. They're throwing, your health care is overloaded. So your children and parents and single parents and people that can't afford things, they have no medical care. They live on the street. They have no money, but yet you're giving free Xboxes and free housing to illegal immigrants. And you're giving them, when they get locked up, for beating up a cop. Not just some fist fight. No bail. Just let them out. And obviously they're not coming back.
It's all going to change.
So the reason why they're doing this, and if you look up the stats, how many guns are coming across the border, this is intentional. Because they want the violence. They want the activity because they're trying to take the Second Amendment.
That's it. Exactly.
And they are letting it go. And
look, why is it that every time, like, now I hate to say this, the country does make a bigger deal about it when it happens to white kids. It just so happens that these little white kids are all being shot in these schools all the time. They're targeting mostly where? Those kind of schools. I'm telling you.
No,
it brings more media attention.
Well, it might bring more media attention, but I'm going to tell you something. It's indiscriminate, the killing in all schools.
No,
177 schools
but I'm saying in
by
general,
by race, by nationality, really is about even, they say.
Really?
Yeah. It's about
Because
even.
I feel like it brings like what it looks like is that these school shootings of these people that are doing them. It makes no sense. The one that the girl did recently, a lady, like it looked like it didn't even make sense. She went in there and shot a whole bunch of people, but it looks like they're trying to do it to take away, like I says, take away the guns.
Well, if
oh, look what they're doing with these guns. Oh, the AR-15, these assault rifles, everything, take them away. You know what I mean? It's all bullshit.
If they wanted to stop these school shootings, they say they have no money, but they have all kinds of slush funds. They got their little pet projects they put money in, ridiculous things about bugs, millions of dollars, all dumb crap. But they have billions to send Ukraine. They have billions to send Iran, 110 billion there. They send all kinds of money now to every other war, every other country for their border, but they refuse to protect our kids. They refuse to protect them from fentanyl. They refuse to protect them in schools. And all these politicians on both sides, that should be the first bill that passes, that there should be security in these schools across the country. There's no excuse. If you could throw money all over the place the way they do, why isn't the money going there? They want to build one of the most expensive FBI buildings, more than the Pentagon, in D.C., so they can make our government more political. But yet you got that money for them, but you don't have it for a 5, 6, 7-year-old child.
No, they won't.
But
they don't care.
But they'll talk about no guns, but they all walk around with private security. So now, I keep saying the same thing. Is their life more important than these children's lives? Is their lives more important than the inner city kids? No. So why isn't anything done? Why is that mayor getting up and acting like there isn't 60 shootings on a weekend in Chicago?
That's insane. It's bad over there. Bronx is just as bad.
New York,
same shit.
New York, same thing.
Bronx
It's
is
a rising crime for the people who don't know. In New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, are anywhere from 60 to 67%.
Philly's out of
So
control, too.
people know violent crime, by the way. So when you could send this kind of money to Iran, right? Or when you could send this kind of money to Ukraine, or when you could send this money to Jordan's border security, but you can't secure our own kids, obviously these government officials have their priorities all effed up. And the reason why is because their kids don't go to these normal schools that the rest of the world do. They're in some private schools with their own Secret Service security for their kids. So they don't care about our kids. Just the other day, actually, on TV, the girl was walking, a sharp little girl. I don't know how old she was. She looked about 9, 10 years old. She's walking, a guy pulls along in front of her, and she's trying to walk home, and she had the awareness to see that he came and he pulled up. So she must have been looking at the corner of his eye. He tried to run up behind her and grab her, and she took off. And then eventually they locked the guy up. But again, where is everybody to talk about this? Where's all, and people say, well, what does this have to do with the mafia? It has a lot to do with the mafia, because instead of wasting their time on nonsense, they should be wasting their time somehow getting involved in some of these things.
They'll fund $10 million to go lock up some bum from Ozone Park, Howard Beach right now, making a loan sharking, but you won't do it for the little things.
And because they want to splash the news with that, but they don't splash the news with how dangerous it is with kids.
I'm sure you know this. I'll tell you, I want to know this stat. I was looking at some on the internet, right? And it was going through a number of crimes. And it says, what do you think it is? A basketball player, a baseball player, or a football player? And it just starts naming sex crimes. And you know what it said? 110 people? Politicians. Politicians, 100 and something politicians are locked up. They don't even talk about it.
Epstein Island.
They don't even talk about it. It's not even a newspaper. Sex trafficking, sex crimes.
Abrams from Georgia, right? Years ago, that lost in the what do you call race? Gubernatorial race. Her brother-in-law just got locked up for it. But you don't hear this stuff.
They won't put in the paper.
Yeah, and they want to be lenient on this stuff, on the attack on our kids. But the money that's wasted around the world on so many funds of slush funds and different things they're doing, and they're not protecting our kids, I don't understand. This should be the first priority when they put these stupid omnibus bills in. Why isn't that put in? That this money's going towards our kids. And where are these legislators? They
want to fund people to turn guys into girls. That's what they're more worried about.
It's just so dangerous. I don't get it. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's what they're worried about.
This is why the country is where it's
women
at.
to men.
And you go back to Iran. I'll tell you this thing. They won't bomb Iran because of the gas prices.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why they're doing it. This is all political nonsense. They don't want to make that move because they don't want the gas prices to skyrocket because he knows he's already behind on the polls. But they'll spend millions in every state chasing after Trump for nonsense. Instead of spending those millions protecting every kid they can with that extra money.
Right. 100%. Listen, do you see what's going on in this country right now? What the world is right now? It's a joke, bro. They're more worried about, like I said, funding. I'm not against any. You want to be gay, that's fine, or tranny, whatever. But you're more worried about that than worried about, like he said, school shootings, protecting children. You're worried about turning a girl or into a boy, or boy into a girl when they're young, and it's just insane.
The government's not worried about. The government just wants to divide, conquer.
Yeah, that's it.
They don't care about anybody's kid. Right. They don't care what happens to anybody's
But they're
kids.
funding this nonsense.
Well, they're just they're only.
Is that pill that stops their fucking thing? There's a pill that stops their.
I don't know.
Yeah, some pill they're giving out now to these fucking.
They're not doing it because they care about them. They don't do it. Listen. They've been doing it to the black community forever. They just threw them again to the back of the line.
Right.
Because they're giving their money away, they're giving their jobs away, they're giving their communities away, they're giving their schoolyards away, they're giving their health care away, they're giving their education away to illegal immigrants. And they're doing the same thing to veterans. So do they care about any of these people? Of course not. They just have an agenda to divide everybody.
Johnny, we're just objects. And that's what they are, honestly.
Joy Reid the other day got caught on a hot mic, right? And you know what she said? Right. Effing Biden's going to get us into World War III. So that means everything she says.
That's what he wants.
But it's everything these news people do. It's propaganda. They just repeat each other. But in their hearts, they know this, that what he's doing is he's incompetent. Who doesn't know he's incompetent?
He can't even talk. He goes, he can't even speak. What do you mean? He can't talk. Yeah. The guy can't go. He falls off the stage when he walks.
But he has security. His family has security. His son has all kinds of security. But our children have no security. So when they go to school, you got to sit at home and do what? Pray that there's not another shooting in their school? I can walk in. We should do that, actually. You know what, Eric, you know what we should do, all of us? Film me, watch me, how easy it is for me to enter any school. You'll see me get into different schools. I'll make any excuse I want if they have somebody standing there, and I guarantee I get in. We should do it from school to school to show how easy it is to infiltrate a school.
We're just objects, Johnny, to people. They'll kill. They don't care if 10 million people die. We're just objects.
Right now, we have all kinds of kids coming through the border. They're not checking if they're really their parents. They don't know where the kids are. They're missing. There's 125,000 kids that don't even know where they are. So, why is that? Why don't they care? It's a breakdown. They're trying to break down the system. So the next generation, it's easier for them to control. That's all it is. It's only about brainwashing, controlling, manipulating.
Is Trump going to go to jail? What's going to happen with him?
Well, you got like
what are they going to do?
You got Nikki Haley that's running for president.
What do they do with these cases? Like,
well, this is all. That's what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Nikki Haley, her backing's from a billionaire Democrat.
Right.
That she knows is a Democrat. He's also the same guy that backed the lawsuit against Trump with the woman that just won $80-something million from the judge that ruled in favor of her attorney, her attorney worked alongside that judge and he never divulged it. This is all third world country stuff that Trump is being bombarded by everybody because they're trying to stop him, or trying to stop us, actually, from being able to vote. It's our choice who we vote for. Not their choice.
Right.
They don't even want to give us a choice. They want to try to take them off the tickets.
Is it really valid? Are these cases valid? Are they going to?
No, because you'll see what just happened with in Georgia also, with Fannie. She gave $650,000 to a lawyer that never prosecuted a criminal case. Yet prior to him being hired, he billed to go to the White House. So what are you doing at the White House? The White House has nothing to do with the DOJ, and the president have nothing to do with a lawsuit, supposedly a criminal case in Georgia. And how would they know that prior to indicting him? What is he doing there? This is what's going on in this country. This is Venezuela. This is China. This is a corrupt system.
Right.
And they're trying to stop the third-party system also. That's why they won't let Robert F. Kennedy get on tickets. They're trying to stop him. Why are you trying to stop him for? Let him get on a third-party system. Why doesn't he have security? We get to choose if we want to choose him, or if we want to choose Trump, or if we want to choose anybody else.
Now a lot of people are starting to come out that people really are hating like Democrats now. It's coming. They're losing everybody. They lost the black community big
Well,
time.
you're going to lose the
They lost the
country.
black community. No, but they lost communities that were
There's
always
still
on their
there's
side.
still too many blacks that are bullshitted by them. I don't get how.
No,
I
not
don't
in
really
New York.
get it.
No, they lost New York. They lost the black community.
They only have about 27% that are still voting for Trump, and the other 60% are voting for Biden, who's a racist. I don't know. You know, the problem is most people don't pay attention to the news and the media. They're bored with it. They don't understand it. They don't have time. They're at work, and you know they changed it. Recently, the government put out that the jobs increased by I think 3 million jobs this year, which is nonsense. Because half those jobs are people getting second jobs because they can't afford the inflation with their first job, and the other part of those jobs are part-time jobs.
Right.
So those numbers are all lied. They're screwed, and your salary doesn't match the inflation. So a household's losing about $4,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 a year every year now. So that's why people are getting secondary jobs. That's why they're taking part-time jobs. So when they give these numbers, most people don't understand this. They don't know. They don't really understand politics because they don't watch it. So if they have a chance to watch something and laugh or watch a sporting event, they don't want it to get because it's frustrating because you have no control over these corrupt people.
Right.
And, you know, they're corrupt. They're
Do you
completely
think Trump
corrupt.
goes back in office or no?
I hope so. We're going to lose this country. And if it ain't Trump, I hope it's somebody that's going to control this country.
I know.
Because we're getting walked into World War III.
Yeah.
And this guy's shows no, listen, he's just incompetent.
What's their objective? I'm not big
What's
the objective? To
Their
become a
objective is
what?
very simple. To lose the identity of this country.
But what's the objective? What do
That's
they
the
get out of
objective.
it? What, to control everything?
Because the more people that come in that don't believe in the United States of America, don't love this country,
Right.
they owe this country nothing. They don't live by our standards, our rules,
So what's
our
that
family
do for us,
values.
though? What's that do for the? What's that do
They
for
want to
the
get rid of the
Democrats?
Western world. They want to be able to control them all. If you got more people in this country that are homeless, less jobs, inflation, you get rid of the middle class, they pay you like the mob does. You get little tricklets and they keep you around.
Right.
And you always need that little crumb.
Right.
The difference is Trump made, in the inner cities, he made opportunity zones
Right.
to own businesses. He did something different. He gave a 10-year bill through Tim Scott for colleges in black universities. No one else did it. Obama didn't do it. None of them gave opportunity zones. They just want to give $300, $400, $500, stay at home and don't work. That was the idea. The same thing with the lockdowns with COVID. Mm-hmm. The more people get disassociate with each other and they keep them in the house, it's easier to control. They want them lazy. They don't want them to work. They want to give them a check, and they don't want them to succeed. So if they can keep them down and passive with a couple $100 and say, look, these dumb bastards only take a couple $100. And, you know, the more people we do that, we get rid of the middle class, we control the world. It'll be the rich and the very poor.
Right.
And this is our objective.
I honestly believe, and I know say this, I think they actually will try to kill Trump if he wins. I swear to God.
They'll try to kill him
I think
maybe
somebody
now.
try to kill him.
You know, they're letting in all
Yeah.
these terrorists in this country. Actually, they just caught one in Minnesota. They let him in. He was already on a terrorist list. And 2 weeks ago, he was recognized. They caught him in Minnesota.
Yeah, I think
so. That's just one. But there's a couple hundred that they know of that are loose in this country. So why are they doing that? They know something's going to happen. It's not like maybe. It's when
They
it's going to
want
happen.
to. They want someone.
Of course, they want
someone to hurt.
They're
get this
trying to
guy.
disrupt this whole country.
Uh-huh.
This is the idea. They want to disrupt it. So, you know, the problem is our officials and our government officials, our senators and congressmen don't really like this country. They just like money. When you have a Mitch McConnell and a Nancy Pelosi, they're 90 years old. They're still grabbing money. They're still making deals. They're still bringing in. They just.
What do they even care for? They're so old, ready to die. I don't understand. What
I don't
they're
know.
even doing this for.
I don't know. You got people like George Soros that his life mission is to disrupt countries, just cause chaos, and he makes money off causing
How old is
chaos. Oh, he's like 90 old.
That's what I'm saying. What are they even doing?
His son's next, though. His son's
Yeah.
he made his son to be like him. So the objective is really to crush the modern day civilization and start when you have WHO, when you have United Nations, they're all corrupt organizations. They're just stealing money. They're trying to control the world over force. They abused Africa, the WHO, forever. Forced vaccines on them, killed millions, thousands, I shouldn't say millions, but thousands of them with testing vaccines. This is what they want around the world here. The same thing they did with this vaccine. When you force things on somebody with not an explanation and don't let you question it, that's when you got to question and say, what's the objective? The objective was this, the lockdowns for the It was the lockdowns to control society in the
Right.
future, and it was also to affect the elections with ballot harvesting, and with no IDs and everything else. You need ID for everything. Walk down the block, you need identification. Get pulled over, you need identification. Go to the hospital, you need identification. Go to a ball game, you need identification. Go to a Democratic Party conference. They got big boards of identification on them. Why do you got that? Oh, because for their safety, you got to have identification. But our safety, or our kids' safety, no identification. It's insulting, and people need to really start paying attention more to politics, because it's not like the old days where you're going to lose freedom. Now you're going to lose freedom. And when they disrespect our servicemen, we just lost 3 more servicemen just recently in the bombing. And there happened to be 3 black, I think 2 black and 1 Spanish. There happened to be 3 black, you lost 2 Navy SEALs, you lost 5. And that's because they let the Houthis and they let Hezbollah and them bomb us 160, 170 times without retaliation. So you show weakness. And the reason why you won't bomb them is because, I said earlier, the election's coming. Same thing why Hochul just made the speech about getting tough on crime. And where you been the last 3 years?
Right.
They're just doing it for the next, they do a horse and pony show prior to the election. They try to act like they care about the police, they care about crime. You don't care about the police. You don't care about crime. You've been defunding them. You've been attacking them. You've been arresting them. You arrest a war hero, veteran, Penny, for strangling out somebody that's threatened people on the train.
Yeah, I remember that.
But then you let 7 people attack New York City Police Department.
No, it's crazy.
And they could have got killed. I mean, I don't know why they didn't. If I was one of those cops, I would pull my gun out
They
and
should have
shot
shot the shit out of them.
Yeah, they should have shot him. Because you don't know what's going to happen. What happens if one of those kids took that gun? You don't know that. So they really made a mistake. But they're so tentative now because they're charging the police. So they don't want to attack back. And
Right.
they need to.
Yeah, they made so many rules.
In our
about the
day,
police.
you got our heads cracked, even when we were innocent.
Yeah.
But that's just part of being on the street.
Right.
I talked about this on another show.
You know how strict it is to be a police officer right now, and especially in New York? You know how
Yeah.
bad it is? You can't do anything.
They make nothing. They make $25 an hour starting.
You can't do nothing.
And by the way, it's 57% black force, police force in New York, for the people who don't know. So, these are true numbers. So you're attacking at the same time they're talking about racism, and you're allowing people to attack 57% of black officers. So they're not black anymore because they're wearing blue. This is the hypocrisy of this government. They got people bullshitted, and most people don't know these numbers. They're not doing news shows. They're not interested the way I am.
Nobody's really interested. They're just going with the flow. You know what I mean?
Well, because people are naive. They don't really see what's going on. They're walking us into a socialist, communist country. That's what they're doing. They're slowly taking. And for people that don't know, Democratic Party wants more and more regulations. That means they want to control your life, be invasive in your life. They took all these cameras down on the border. All the high-tech cameras are taking them down so the rest of the country can't see what goes on. But when we walk down the block, there's a camera everywhere. And then they want to put shut-off switches in your car. And then they want to force you to take electric vehicles that don't work when it's cold. They bust out.
Right.
And then they go on fire. And then they want to make you have electric stoves, but they have gas stoves. But they take all those cameras down. Why is that? Don't we want to know who's coming in the border?
Right.
Why are they trying to lie to us?
Right.
And they're trying to pass a bill now that's supposed to be both parties agreeing. There's nothing to agree on.
Right.
There's 100,000 illegal immigrants coming in every month. Under Trump, it was 10%, 15% of that.
If he comes in, he will clean house.
So if
No,
if they just put the regulations he had in effect prior, there is no bills they got to change. This is another snow job, con job, because all they got to do is put all the things that he had in effect before, and you control the border.
No, but I'm saying if he comes in, he'll clean house.
Of course, they know that, but they don't want that. They're trying to bring down this country. They're not really trying to bring him down. They're trying to bring the country down. He's just in the way. And and I got to tell you, when people say like, "What is it about Trump?" He's the only one that's speaking up for people. He's the only one that's he started it. Now there's people like Kerry Lake that's running for Senate, who's a strong woman, and you have Tulsi Gabbard that used to be in Hawaii, who was a Democrat, who's a middle of the road, good woman, a veteran, and you have people like Naomi in Dakota. So you do have other ones coming out, and different people. Tom Cotton, that's come, comes out who's strong and that love this country, and there's a list of others that care about the country. But overall, people, when you say, if you don't like it here, then why is everybody marching through this country? What are they coming here for? Go to another country.
Yeah, no, they all want to
Leave
come.
this country if it's so bad.
I know.
But they want to change it and bring it down like those countries they're leaving.
Everybody's coming here.
So,
It's crazy.
I mean, at the end of the day, I go back to the topic, is we need to protect our kids. We have billions of dollars. We need to protect our inner cities. We need to protect our children in the inner city. And we need the mayor from Chicago and every other mayor that's talking about international killing. Worry about the killing in our neighborhoods that you just don't control.
Chicago's a shit dump. Bronx is a shit dump. Philly's a shit dump. It's really bad. It's like
Detroit,
poverty.
Tennessee,
Listen,
all these places.
people are complaining they can't walk out their homes in Philadelphia. They don't want to walk the streets. That's how bad it is. It's all over the internet. They can't walk outside.
Everybody should be writing your congressman, your representative, your councilman, and you should force and get involved more at these school boards and force and insist that these billions of dollars that are going all over to Iran and everywhere else, and Iraq and Ukraine, should be going to our schools first. All this should be saving our kids' lives.
Sleepy Joe.
It should be a priority. Everybody, please subscribe, follow us, get us to 100,000 subscribers. Hopefully we get there this month, and follow us and give us your opinion, especially about this, about kids. It's our children's, our futures, our generation is going to be our next leaders, and we need to protect them.
That's it.
Hey, our baseball bats are back, by the way. Follow that.
Vaca.